Hello guys, and welcome back to this video. Today we are going to talk about Salafism. Some of you may be thinking about Al-Qaeda or ISIS because those two organizations were defined as part of the Salafi movement, and they considered themselves deriving exactly from this movement. In reality though, the movement itself is much more large than these extremist groups. And so today it's a good opportunity to go and investigate who the Salafis are. So Salafism is this movement that develops kind of like to detach itself from the Muslim Brotherhood, and we are between the 60s and the 70s under Al-Banna, especially in Egypt, when again to detach themselves from the Muslim Brotherhood this movement starts. So the idea is to go back exactly to what the Sunnah prescribes, and so to go back exclusively to the first 3 generations of Muslim, because those were the proper generations to be followed, the proper prescription to be followed. The rest was sort of corrupted over the course of time. And therefore, the need is to go back to what originally has been said. So the fact that we find this traditionalist sort of interpretation should not surprise us in the slightest. But the way Salafis would differentiate themselves from others is for some peculiarities. First of all, they are the only group who continues to wear shoes in a mosque. If you go to a mosque, also because of the carpets, the first thing that happens is that you cannot really enter the mosque itself, or pray or walk on the carpet with your shoes, right? And so you leave your shoes out. Whether you are Muslim or not makes no difference, right? You still have to leave your shoes out. Salafis will pray with their shoes on, which is interesting. Number 2, they have this idea, basically a much stricter and much more rigid separation between men and women should be applied. So a sort of gender separation is applied in Salafist group. And then they wear this long facial hair in the way, you know, we have seen it, for instance, on Osama bin Laden. Now, in reality though, Salafists are to be differentiated between Quietist, Islamists, and Jihadists. I'm gonna start with the last one because it's the one that we know best, right? So when we talk about Jihadists, yes, we are talking about ISIS or Al-Qaeda. And we're talking about those factions because what Salafis tend to believe is that Islam and this version of Islam should be much more incorporated into the law and should be much more at the basis of the foundation of an Islamic state. So there are 2 ideas that are primary, and that's why they integrate so well with this jihadist sort of branch of Salafism. And the idea is indeed that of an Islamic state, an Islamic caliphate, if you also like, really thinking about what ISIS wanted to do, what was ISIS' plan and project and strategy. So on the one hand, the idea is to create an Islamic caliphate. On the other hand, the idea is also that anybody who's not part of this form of Islam is sort of identified as takfir. And takfir means basically non-Muslim. Non-Muslim in a way that it does not even matter anymore whether you're a Muslim but belonging to a different movement or a different sort of community, because basically the belief, the accepted belief among Salafi jihadists is that you've been corrupted. So following that, a purification of the creed must be carried out. And the way you do that is according to Salafism, and specifically according to Jihadist Salafism, is to eliminate, to get rid of all the Western influences that have deviated the people from true Islam. Now, this is just the extremist version. There are also Quietists, and if we want to look at Quietists, we have to look especially at Jordan. In this country, the greater communities, the greater Salafi communities are communities that stay out of power, stay out of state businesses, in a way that shows obedience to the ruler, to the king. And since the 1980s, this community advocates for a non-violent approach, and an approach that reflects the Quietist Salafism. And I'll tell you that this part of Salafism, this movement within Salafism, that of Quietists, is probably the most important, as in the more conspicuous one. And then we have something in between Quietists and Jihadists, without resorting not to the extreme, that is that of Islamists. And Islamists are the ones that have created politically this movement by separating themselves between the 60s and the 70s under al-Banna, separating themselves from a Muslim Brotherhood, with which they no longer, I guess, shared certain views. Now, specifically in Egypt, where this movement was the Islamist Salafis or political Salafis was created, in Egypt they created the party called Noor. Now, interestingly, Noor also obtained something like 27.8% at the election, so a very good number considering that this was the first year. But also what happened is that in the months leading to the election, the Noor party, which started off as massively referring to more sort of religious concepts, attenuated, used less and less of religion and religious concepts within their political campaign in a way to make it look like more of a secular sort of a movement, despite the intrinsic, religion-based sort of nature of this movement. And the idea of Islamist Salafis would be that of making Salafism the foundation for the Islamic nation. Now, guys, I hope that was clear and that you have enjoyed the video. So don't forget to comment below, let us know your thoughts. And if you have enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll talk next time. Bye!